getting it. We're live? We are live. Welcome. My name is David. Welcome to the AM stream of Sin City Crypto. There is a lot happening today. You know, Trump's back in office, and there's not a day that goes by that there's not some breaking news that breaks the markets literally as we see it happen in real time. What is he talking about now? We'll take a look at Bitcoin. On the PM stream yesterday, we made a short call on BTC at 84,100. That seems to be playing out fairly nicely. So shout out to all the Patreon members that got that alert in Patreon. Also, shout out to all the people that were watching yesterday. We'll be taking a look at the Bitcoin chart and then what the NASDAQ chart is telling us and what to expect moving forward. We also have a very special guest joining us live, Kyle Langham from the Dfinity Foundation will be joining us. We're going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin, runes, and of course, ICP, the ecosystem, and what is going on. We also have some XRP news as well. And who did the Trump family try to buy a stake in? Whose company in crypto? And was it real? We'll talk about that and much, much more in today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto, home of the entertainment folks. Content. You take old, boring, stale content you normally get from other channels. We do it in a fun, sexy, Vegas kind of way. We don't try to bore you to death, and we give you honest and real opinions that are not jaded by someone's portfolio or by someone's pump this before I sell it content creator vibe, which we know that is a stain on our face. But I want to say,
Staying on the base, huh?
that's right, man.
Okay.
You know it's true. You know it's true.
I will
There's
say
a lot of there's a lot of channels out here, a lot of creators out here. I don't want to say majority, but I would say there's a pool of content creators that their mission is to create content that is going to essentially benefit them financially, their own portfolio, or there's some kind of incentive to pump a project. Perhaps they sell it before the pump, or they're just trying to increase the value of their bags.
value extraction.
Yes.
We don't do that here. You know, I'll briefly mention this. We've obviously promoted stuff, and we say when we do. But the one rule we have is we never take payment in the token that we are reviewing for the project. For that exact reason, we always take payment in stable coins, and then we always try to give some back to the community. Speaking of that, yesterday's stream, I gave away 2 almanacs and $50. So shout out to the winners yesterday. You'll never know what we give away on this show, on the evening show. So you don't want to miss any content. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification. Now, let's start with the markets today. Rob, I'll send it over to you. BTC was kind of wobbling around at 84,000. Want to take a look at the markets?
Yep. So you got Bitcoin sitting at 80,000. And so we had a little pullback, a little sell-off today. You know, it looked like we were making some ground. You know, you go back to where we were, right? If you look at on the 1 week here, we were at 88,000, looking nice and comfortable. We sold off. We got to that, 77,000, even 76,000 briefly. And then we looked like we were having a nice little breakout, and we were getting out of this little trend here, and then right at 84,000.
Oh, who's
not today? You did. I'll give you credit. But you know what happened here was the NASDAQ down 1.75%, an absolute shellacking going on in the NASDAQ today.
I'll be honest with you, dude.
So this is on the day. It's just down and to the right, and I know a lot of this is still just fueled by the trade war that we have with Donald Trump and his ongoing tariffs. And we're going to, you know what? I will say something that cut me deep. You know, you could throw the tariffs on the steel, on that aluminum, but your boy Donald Trump today, he said he was going to impose 100% tariffs on all EU imports.
That's wrong. Why do you jump ahead? I already have that mapped out in the show.
Well, let me see it.
Well, now I'm jumping ahead.
We're good.
Jesus. Anyways, 200% tariff on European.
Is it 200? Oh, I thought it was 100. all the sweet, sweet French,
So no more
Italian
DRCs.
wines.
No more Chateauneuf-du-Pape.
Oh man,
No more Barolos, Rocco.
all
no
the
more
cognacs.
Chiantis.
So Donald Trump came out going to impose a 200% tariff on all wine,
And
champagne, alcoholic products coming from France and other EU countries. And so, you know what? Europe has a lot of things they export, some things I don't like, a lot of things I absolutely love. And you know what? My God, if you take away my wine, champagne, and cognac, you're going to cut me deep, man.
Dave Chappelle once said, grab me a banana cognac.
So, I mean, you also got, you got all of your, your Belvederes and
Chopin.
Chopin, your Grey Goose. Everything.
We just got to drink Tito's now. Tito's and Stolichnaya.
Yeah, American vodka.
No, Absolute.
Yeah, all we had is Tito's. We got Tito's, Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, all the other bourbons.
But we got Southern Comfort, Wild Turkey.
And it's
Hey.
and California red wines, which if you like fruit juice in a bottle with a little kick of acidity, California, look no further. You want well balanced wine that go good with dinner? Come back to me, European Union. I need that wine. So,
anyways, so that's part one of what.
But hold on, Rocco. What do you think about this, man? What's going on over here?
Well, it's very tough. I don't think it's gonna hold off. People, they have money, they don't care. They're gonna pay the extra tariff. But for the people they don't have the money to pay for, it's gonna be a hit. Yeah,
200% though. I mean, that means your $50 bottle of wine is now $100.
Yeah, but I don't think they're gonna do the same thing exactly. Also in Europe, forget about it. Okay, you do this to us. Okay, keep your stuff. We're gonna use our own. They're gonna even say mine is better.
I thought you'd be more upset, Rocco.
No, I'm okay. No.
I think it's a empty promise. Or empty
Instead
threat.
to buy a bottle of wine, I'll buy the ticket. I'll go to Italy.
Yeah,
be cheaper.
I think there's no way, man. You know what? There's too many rich politicians out here. Too many high net worth individuals that love the
wine industry.
Wine. I mean, think about it. Think about every bar at a hotel, every restaurant you go to. They're all gonna have limited supply because as a retail customer, you might be okay. Forking out the extra $100 or whatever it is for a bottle, but as a restaurant, you're not going to order. If you're paying $80 for a bottle of Grey Goose or whatever, cognac or whatever, tequila or something. No, tequila's not made. Anyways, yeah, the restaurants ain't going to fork out the extra money, man. They're just not. And then all these big wigs are going to go out to the restaurant. They're going to try to order their liquor, and they're not going to have it, man.
Does Camus have a stock that we can trade? Because Camus sales are about to go up.
Donald Trump has a service empire, right? He started off with, luxury hotels. And so, I mean, how is he going to survive, right? He's going to tariff himself out of business.
Couple shout outs. Uncle Jesse with a €6. Funny, it was a euro. We're talking about. There's also a tariff on that, so we were only not going to even get the 70% we usually get. Just kidding, Jesse. Thank you very much. Said all I hit the like button. And then Destroyer has been a whale member for almost 3 years.
When are we get a new? We haven't had a new whale member in a while. Actually, I haven't checked the inventory.
Shout out to you, Destroyer, and all of you that are watching the show today. So that was part one of what Trump's been up to. I have a part two that I'll share later. Hopefully, Robin doesn't jump to that.
We did. We do have Ashley in studio. What's going on, Ashley? What you doing over there?
Wow. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
What are your thoughts on the tariffs?
I honestly don't care.
She doesn't care.
I don't.
She drinks. What's that? Cinnamon one.
Cinnamon one.
Fireball.
I do not drink Fireball.
The Capri.
Fireball, Truly's, spiked Capri Suns. Oh, yeah, there you go.
You know what? If that was a thing,
Tito's and Capri.
Yeah. What do you drink? Tito's and cranberry.
I do really like my vodka cranberry.
Tito and cranberry.
Basic
So
white girl.
good.
Basic
That's
white girl.
So
Pretty
good.
obvious.
Let me guess.
It's either a dirty box.
You got some sweatshorts that say "juicy" on the back.
No, I don't. But sometimes, sometimes they do say pink. Sometimes I do some pineapple with my cranberry juice if I'm feeling a little frisky,
So pretty much just juice with a little bit of vodka.
Sometimes I do a lot of bit of vodka. It depends on my mood.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. Before we move on from the markets here, so this was the Bitcoin chart. Now we talked about this on the stream yesterday. We talked about this being a bear flag on the daily. and on the 4 hours, you can see. And we expected this thing to get rejected at 84.1, which it did. And on the 4 hour, you can see this essentially has become a triple top for BTC. And on the way down, though, we had a liquidity grab. This was back, this big volume node, around 14,000 Bitcoin was traded. And that level is around 81.5. And on at least on the 4 hour, we completely fell through this level. And let me drop a horizontal line there. Let's change the color on this one. Let's go purple. No, not purple. Let's go something lighter. Let's go there. So this line, there was previous time price was here. There was a large liquidity grab. Again, 14,000 Bitcoin traded here. And we fell completely through this large volume node. And so the big daddy of them all is going to be $78,218. That is where Bitcoin had its massive rebound from a wick low of 76, going all the way back up to $84,000. I do expect price to catch some support there. If it does, we'll be looking at long BTC at around 78.1. But at the time being, if you're in that short trade from 84, I put it in our Patreon Discord. Don't be afraid to take 50% off the table. Take some profits. Anything under 81.3, I think, is a good bet. 81.3 was a stop, and obviously we're trading below that. We might attempt to retest that 81.3 level and get rejected and continue to spill. But this move is something, again, that was, I don't want to say obvious, but this is a pretty probability-wise, it's pretty safe that these break to the downside. I think the percentage is like 70% or so. And so we expect that. And the bounce we're looking for, again, is going to be between $76,000 and $78,000. If macro conditions worsen, you never know. And we take a look at the NASDAQ. And so a couple things here. The NASDAQ officially broke below its 200-day moving average. This is not good. You look at the last time that we broke below our 200-day moving average was back in 2022. And NASDAQ spent a significant amount of time trading below this area. And it was around 254 trading days. So well over a year in total. Last time the NASDAQ broke below its 200-day moving average, it just doesn't do it very often. If it does, it's usually a deviation that corrects immediately to the upside. As you can see here from the COVID drop back in March of 2020, we had one here again where we came into this inverse head and shoulders and broke back above. And we've repeatedly used this as a key support level. And again, now we have officially broken through this trend line and then the 200-day moving average as well. We do have a few very significant volume nodes here on the NASDAQ. The first one being 16,682, where we saw around $146 billion being traded there. We should see some support. And historically, you take a look at other large volume nodes and how the NASDAQ has reacted. The first one here was at 18,848, where we saw around $300 billion traded for the NASDAQ. We broke below, attempted to reclaim this volume node, and then we eventually spilled off. And then the more recent one that we saw a few days ago, this was we saw a liquidity grab here as well, around 18,100. NASDAQ caught that as support, and then it had a rally back into the 200-day moving average ribbon, and then eventually spilled off, attempted another retest, failed that as well, and then continued to spill. So again, the next area from where we are, in percentage terms, it's another 3.5% to get to our next large volume node area for the NASDAQ. So something important to keep in mind, as we know that Bitcoin and the stock market are extremely correlated. What are your thoughts on that, Rob? On the overall markets here? Do you think it's just, I mean, we're seeing relief rally after relief rally get stopped short, failing to take key resistance levels that used to be support, and just getting rejections, at least on Bitcoin. We're starting to see that in the NASDAQ as well.
Well, I think that what we're seeing is typical bull market action, just without the extreme volatility, right? Without the big sharp moves. And so if you were to tell me prior to us getting into this calendar year, hey, you know what? Bitcoin is going to go from 80,000 or say we're going to go from 75,000, 60, 70,000. We're going to shoot up to 108,000, put in a new all-time high. And then we're going to pull back briefly to 80,000 and trade there for a little bit of a consolidation before we take off again. I would say, you know what, that sounds pretty realistic, right? Don't you agree? Break out from 60, 70,000, put in a new all-time high at 100 plus thousand, 108,000, pull back, consolidate down to 80. If you were to tell somebody that is going to happen in the bull market, like, okay, cool, yeah, sure. That sounds about right. The only thing is it's not as violent of a swing, right? Is that it's more of a slower candles or slower growth to the upside, and then more of a long methodical pullback, right? More of a long-term consolidation where you step down instead of having a massive crash for where, in the past in 2017, if we would have had a 30% correction, it would have been within 2 weeks, right? Within a week, maybe 5 days. That's what we've seen before. It's what we've gotten accustomed to. So when we see this slow grind sell-off, we're over here like, oh my God, the bear market's back. The bull market's invalidated. Stop. There's a lot more money in the system. Bitcoin's a lot larger. It doesn't violently move in one direction or another. And if it does sell off dramatically, people come in and backstop it and see the value of Bitcoin and say, hey, you know what? I have an opportunity to buy Bitcoin at 78,000. I'm going to buy it. And so for that reason, because there's so many people in that camp, the price rebounds a lot quicker than it would, or, it finds that support and it keeps on keeping on. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I think my perspective on the market currently is that everything's fine. The U.S. is buying. A lot of great narratives out here. Big companies are buying. Post-halving, supply shock. We're good. Altcoins are just that's the one I'm not really too sure about. Because altcoins are fueled by retail. Retail is not hot and heavy in here. But for Bitcoin's price, it's easy to say we're in a bull market. I have no reason to invalidate that. But for altcoins, you gotta pick winners here because they're not all gonna pump. And so for me, if Bitcoin gets to that $200,000 mark, $150,000 Bitcoin, $300,000 Bitcoin, whatever number we're going to throw out there, if Bitcoin gets there, altcoins will follow, but not all of them, and only a handful. And so pick the right ones.
If I'm being objective here, and I just look at the technicals and look at the chart, this actually looks like bear market price action, right? You had a double top, you had a failure to get a new high, and then you spill off. And that is kind of exactly what we're seeing now, right? We're seeing a double top, a failure high, right? A failure to make a new high. You do that one more time and you're starting to spill off, and you're just consistently making, and these are on higher time frames, consistently making lower highs and lower lows for BTC. Now, that's from just a technical price action standpoint. When you look at everything else that's happening, I agree with you. It's very hard to sit here and say that BTC is in a bear market with everything going on, and we pound the drum on this every single show, and I don't want to continue to do that on today's show, but with everything that we talk about all the time happening, going to happen, in the works, it's hard to sit here and say that Bitcoin is just going to go into some nasty bear market when you literally have the United States of America creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I just don't see it. I think a lot of this is macro. And until that reverses, and all it takes is one announcement, one deal, more time passing. I don't know what that is. But once that gets better, maybe it's rate cuts, right? We talked about that yesterday on the PM stream. So these are all factors to look into play. But from a technical, if you just look at charts, you can argue that this is bear market price action. But if you look at just outside of not just charts, but news, fundamentals, everything going on, it's hard to sit here and say that we're in a bear market for BTC. Ashley, do you have any names you want to rattle off here?
I do have names. I do. Well, we'll start with the super chats. Crit Cats has a $2 super chat. Rob, since you love doing it, will you pay my taxes? Yes or no?
That's a no.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
Full runner, $8 super chat. First super chat on our show.
What?
Waiting for Dave to be wrong about something so Robin can win. Something along those lines. And then for new names.
Me or Robin?
I don't know. We got
we'll take your money.
Data for Life, Podarot. These are hard names. Fred, Breezy, Corey, ES, HBAR Bean, and JC18. Yeah.
Also, government bowel movement tracker. How's that going, by the way?
No, he's been here.
I know, but I just like saying that.
Oh, okay.
All right. Speaking of the economy, we'll take a look at this. Gold prices officially surged to a new record high, now just 1% away from crossing $3,000 per ounce. For the first time in its history, it is so obvious the stock market Wall Street is completely spooked. Everyone thinks it's a recession. I think it's a complete overreaction. You get headlines and news, tariffs, this and that. And honestly, this was Donald Trump this morning, and this doesn't really help the situation, right? Listen to this.
What is your vision for the potential annexation of Greenland and getting the potential?
Yeah.
So the question was, what is your outlook on a potential annexation of Greenland? So going in there and taking it by force.
Well, I think it'll happen, and I'm just thinking, I didn't give it much thought before, but I'm sitting.
I think it will happen.
Hey, what are your thoughts on going into another country and doing what Russia did to Crimea back in 2014? Well, I think it'll happen.
We got a lot of guns, very beautiful guns.
They got a lot of rare earth. It's all computer. It's all computer.
With a man that could be very instrumental. You know, Mark, we need that for international security, not just security, international. We have a lot of our favorite players, cruising around the coast, and we have to be careful. And we'll be talking to you. It's a very appropriate, really a very appropriate question.
There's an
Thank
issue
you
in the
very
high
much.
north, so the Arctic. So what you did, so when it comes to Greenland, yes or not joining the US, I would leave that outside for me, this discussion, because I don't want to drag NATO in that. But when it comes to the high north and the Arctic, you are totally right. The Chinese are now using these routes. We know that the Russians are rearming. We know we have a lack of.
Well,
So
just the word annex does not mean take by force, and it is the process of adopting it into the country. And so annexing Alaska wasn't, that was a process. It wasn't a war. We bought it from Russia, and so
I would like someone to dictionary Google what annexation means, because from my understanding, it's taking by force.
No. We annexed all of our places that we have.
Through war.
No, we annexed Hawaii. We annexed also Alaska and the Louisiana Purchase.
We'll get back. Speaking of Trump, the Trump family has been in talks for a stake in crypto exchange Binance. This was reported by the Wall Street Journal. And to be fair, CZ did say, sorry to disappoint. The Wall Street Journal article got the facts wrong. Said he's never spoken to anyone about selling any share of any Binance. So, yeah. And then some funny stuff. If you remember this, Robin, in my opinion, is from Eric Trump. It's a great time to add ETH. You can thank me later. That was when ETH was at $2,900. Let's all take a moment here, chat, and let's say thank you to Eric Trump. Eric, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you so much.
From the bottom of my chart.
From the bottom of this chart
Yes.
to the bottom of my bank account, thank you for telling me to buy Ethereum at $2,900. Now I got to tell my kid we cannot go to Hawaii. In fact, son, we can't go. We also have this as well.
Staycation?
Yeah. The sellers are getting exhausted. And here's an image of the sellers. This is a meme as old as time, but such a good one. David Goggins, the guy who's known for...
He lives here in Vegas, you know that?
That's crazy. His story is insane, right? The guy finished, I think he finished like a 26-mile run on a broken foot, on a broken leg.
I'd say let's get him on the podcast, but then I just feel like I'd be woefully less of a man. It's just like, how can you compete with somebody like that, man? I mean, dude just like has done everything. He's like checked off everything, man, and he just doesn't stop. He'd be like, "What'd you eat this morning?" I'm like, cereal. He's like, "Shame on you." Like,
and then we have this as well. This is a chat from the Coinbase virtual assistant. Was your issue resolved? No, thank you. Wow. To be fair, we had an issue with Coinbase in our business account, and we actually got it resolved fairly quickly. So shout out to the Coinbase team. I know there's Been a lot of people ragging on Coinbase and the support, but we've had a good experience with them. So anyways, with that being said, we have a very special guest joining us. Typically, Kyle joins us for a pre-recorded video where we talk just ICP. I wanted to bring him on the live show to talk not just ICP, but also the markets, Bitcoin. Kyle, you've officially made it to the big screen, my friend. How does it feel? You're famous now.
I have never seen my head so big in my life.
Fair enough. Kyle, thank you.
I'm staring right over you.
Yeah, I know. We'll bring you a regular in a moment. We want to thank you for joining us, Kyle. It's always a pleasure talking to you, man. We're excited to see you. We're excited to see you in Vegas in May. It's gonna be really fun. Kyle, before we get into any like ICP specific topics, what are your thoughts on where the markets are? What are your thoughts on where Bitcoin is? And just kind of in general, I guess.
I mean, I love if you looked at the crypto Twitter timelines, you would think that this was like depth of bear market, 2022 kind of stuff. But I mean, I still think Bitcoin's in a bull market. That's been true. What we haven't gotten is what we typically think of as the alt season. And so I think that's kind of where we're at. It feels, if you're holding Bitcoin, you feel good. You like what's going on in the world. You like the fact that Bitcoin is winning. If you're holding other tokens, you've probably been, feeling a little bit more pain this cycle.
Kyle, I know a lot of people, looking at it hindsight, a lot of people look to what happened that caused it, and everyone points to the Trump, Melania, and then the Argentina Libra meme coin kind of being the tops. What are your thoughts on how that played out? We saw a lot of liquidity get extracted from a lot of projects, a lot of networks. What are your thoughts? And if you were to look back post-mortem and see what kind of effect that has had on the market, like what weight of fault would you lay on that versus maybe overall macro, or maybe Trump every day finding a new country to go and annex?
Well, if you know, like, industry life cycle, right? The industries go through life cycles. There's the introduction, there's a growth stage, there's the maturity phase, and then there's the decline phase. For altcoins, or like, what we consider like non-Bitcoin crypto, I think what we're seeing is there just hasn't been a lot of innovation since 2021, right? When you think about what are the narratives for this cycle compared to, we had DeFi summer back in 2021, where all these amazing new applications and blockchains came and built really phenomenal apps back in 2021, but we haven't seen innovation since then. And so you could argue that maybe our industry is entering into the maturity phase where you don't really bring in new users. You basically just cycle existing users through existing channels. And so when something like Trump or Melania coin or the Libra coin, like the fact that sucked liquidity from so many different corners of our industry, I think is really just a sign that, you're shuffling chairs on the deck and not bringing in new users. So, I mean, hopefully this is like a call to our industry to say, look, we can't settle on just DeFi, or rather like DeFi from 3 or 4 years ago, as like the thing that we're bringing to the world. We got to find new ways to solve people's problems, to bring in, millions and millions more users. And so, we've tried GameFi, we've tried SocialFi. Those have had various degrees of success, but I think that we're in a space where we need more innovation and really thinking through, like, what is crypto's role in everyday humans, lifespan, where we're not just, for those of us who aren't just trading meme coins back and forth.
I'm so happy you said that, Kyle, because one of my theses for like altcoins moving forward is going to be the era of we're building this to do this, and once we launch here, this is what it's capable of doing, and when the institutions come in, we'll be able to do this. Like, that time is now. And so what I think we're going to see, and I think we're kind of seeing, is the vaporware will start to trend to zero, which it kind of already is. And then the real utility of what you mentioned, what are we actually using blockchain and crypto for, to make people's lives better, to make companies more efficient, to make profit margins that much bigger, right? Especially with inflation and so everything else. So my question is, what is ICP's kind of pitch? Like, what if, and I want to ask this question because people get so drawn into just price action, they really forget, like, all right, these guys are doing this. This is, this is what's happening behind the scenes. And so what is the one thing that you can point to, if that is true, that we're heading into a more utility-focused altcoin run? Where does ICP land, and where can it help the industry as a whole? Like, what's the biggest, I guess, shtick you can say? I don't know if that's the right word to use. But
yeah, and I mean, I think the timing is right. I mean, my own personal view, I've mentioned this on the show multiple times, that in the U.S., the last couple of months have just unlocked entrepreneurial spirit in the space. And so there's going to be a lot of innovation, I think, coming specifically from the U.S. The areas that I think ICP is all in on, you could probably categorize it as three things. One is enterprise adoption of blockchain technology. So using like ICP as a protocol that is more tamper proof. So, making a dent in like cybersecurity, making it in IP protection, that kind of stuff. We're seeing some interesting use cases there. The second one is AI. I've mentioned multiple times, and there's really two shots on goal we have on this. One is actually hosting AI models on chain, which people are doing. And that's starting to evolve more, especially with DeepSeek. I think I talked about DeepSeek as like an eye opener of like, you can host the most advanced models now on ICP. And so people are trying to figure out what's the actual product there. And then the self-writing internet, which is basically AI being able to write software for the internet computer. Anyone, if you know how to type into a computer, you can become a dev, and you can actually manage your entire software stack throughout the lifespan. That's still coming real soon. And then finally, Bitcoin. This is probably the here and now. So a lot of what I'm talking about is kind of like under development, the enterprise and the AI stuff. The stuff where we've already found product market fit, where people are innovating and products are going live is Bitcoin, DeFi. And so now you're starting to see applications that do things on Bitcoin with more like a Solana experience. So like, less than a second transactions, phenomenal user experience, people kind of being able to move back and forth, as well as people who are starting to figure out how to create good user experience to unlock some of this Bitcoin that's just been sitting, they call it the ancient whales. They bought their Bitcoin, they've been sitting in a cold storage, and maybe trying to encourage them, hey, let's put that Bitcoin to use.
yeah, you're starting to see that on the institutional level, more so on the crypto side. Coinbase rolled out the borrow against your Bitcoin now with Coinbase, and so I agree with that. I'm not a developer. Like when I understand blockchain, but like I don't know how to write code. And you probably, I don't know, Kyle. I'm curious to get your opinion on this. How does this even happen? Is this something that when you're playing around on internet computer, is this even possible? Trying to swap 220,000 of one stable coin to another one, getting MEV'd and only getting $5,000 out of the 220. I mean, this actually happened. And as a business, we transact a lot here at Sin City Crypto. We transact all of our transactions are in stable coins, and we do this all the time, USDC to USDT. And so, how does this even happen? And can this happen on an internet computer?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is less to do with the protocol. So in this case, I think it was Ethereum that this happened on. Uniswap. So it's less to do with the protocol, more to do with the application design. I would say on the internet computer, it is perfectly possible to have an MEV attack. Although there are ways in which you can create structure your app architecture to where basically there's no way for someone to have the visibility that a transaction is about to happen, and that's really the key. But this is really sad to see. It's stablecoin to stablecoin too, which is just like my heart goes out to this person. And so again, and this is again a sign of like how are we going to get mass adoption with and this is an extreme case, but just the fact that you have these MEVs, people don't understand that we have to abstract that away. We have to prevent it. And so.
Amen to that, man. Amen to that. Kyle, I want to share this post here that Dfinity put out earlier today. Pulse milestone. Internet identity gets an upgrade. No more anchors needed. OpenID standard support. Streamlined wallet integration. I know, Kyle, you're more focused in the AI part of Dfinity, but Any insight here you can give us, or anything else that that Dfinity is actively putting on the forefront of things they want to get accomplished over the next maybe 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, and I think this is actually a great example that kind of touches on a lot of the things I was just talking about. This has that streamlined wallet integration is great for the whole Web3 community. But then also internet identity specifically as like an identity layer that lives on a protocol. So if you think about like if you had the internet itself doesn't have an identity layer. And so companies like Google, log in with Gmail, for example, has basically commandeered that market. And it's led to the extraction of everyone's data. Right now, Google tracks you as you go to all your different websites because you use their identity solution. Internet identity is like one of these like unsung heroes where under the hood, there's a lot of OGs in the actual internet, guys who like basically created a lot of the frameworks for the internet back in like the 1990s, who are like, actually, this is a great solution for identity at the protocol level. And I think it's one of these things. I don't want to speak out of turn here, but internet identity is definitely something that is getting some traction in the Web 2 space, and a lot of people are kind of seeing this as an opportunity to build on top of. So I don't want to say too much because there's conversation in the background that we're not public yet. But
you can say more.
I would like to keep my job. So, So anyways, that kind of gives you some context of the tweet right there references user experience and really trying to make it so it's as seamless to use internet identity as possible.
I'm all about user experience, man. And we're going to keep talking about, we're going to onboard millions and billions of people. You got to make it like not difficult and not scary that, hey, if you end up swapping 50 grand, you might get 5 back. And so those are things that really can't happen. Kyle, before I let you go, what is one thing that you're personally looking forward to over the next, in Q2, because Q1's almost over. Q1 has been pretty rocky. Trump, new president coming in, every day it's a new headline. They're going to do this tariff. We're going to annex this country. What are you most looking forward to in Q2? What's kind of your insight and pulse on where the markets are going, and what narrative do you think is going to be at the forefront of this next run we're going to get?
I see Q2 as Bitcoin DeFi is going to start challenging some of the altcoin DeFi. That's happening. You're seeing some really cool, innovative products that are coming to market. I think that'll be really clear at Bitcoin Vegas as well, when a lot of these companies that have been building in stealth mode come out of stealth mode. So that's something that I think people should be keeping an eye on. And if you've got a token of a layer 1 protocol that's mostly DeFi, you really need to keep an eye on Bitcoin DeFi because that is coming up really quickly here. Other than that, I really do think that we're still in a bull market, in my opinion. I think we're struggling because expectations were super high with Trump coming into the office. Everyone thought we were going to go to the moon. People were starting to put their down payments on their boats, and now they're having to go back and say, I don't maybe have the cash I thought. So
that's funny. We're excited for Bitcoin Vegas, and you mentioned Bitcoin DeFi. There's another layer 1, another one of our favorite projects, Cardano, and Charles Hoskinson has said that he's getting ready to do a demo on Bitcoin DeFi on Cardano. So that's definitely a narrative that's picking up. And that's a lot of money. It's like, 1.3 trillion of value that is just sitting in there doing nothing. And so I think the chain that gets there first and does it the best, I think, is going to be a massive beneficiary. And we're excited that Internet Computer kind of has their hat in the ring there. Kyle, we want to thank you so much for joining us. It is always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. We look forward to seeing you in person again in May for the Bitcoin conference. And then we look forward to bringing you on again in the show. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Love it. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Ashley?
Yes.
You know what to do.
What am I supposed to do?
Say hello to people.
Oh, you're so right.
Yeah.
I have Daniel K. Amin. Let's fucking go, Mike. Am I allowed to cuss on here? Petro222.
We're a family-friendly channel, so no.
Oh.
Just kidding.
No, I found
Yeehaw.
Hold on. What about my boy Kelly Kellum? Kelly Kellum's in here. What's up, Kelly? I was on his show, BitLab Academy, earlier.
Yay, Kelly.
This week. Anyways,
I did find interesting thought here. There's a perfect woman, loves Bitcoin, okay at cooking, wants babies, not a cunt, and that's it. There we go.
Wow. You said the word. Women hate that word. Well, good.
I didn't say it.
No, you said it. You literally said it from your mouth. Good thing we don't have a lot of women watching the show. That's pretty cool. So dumb. All right, I want to share some news. But before I share some news, I want to give a big thank you. Today's show is brought to you by Legacy Network and the Legacy Academy app. I keep telling people you could literally earn their freaking token for free in the app. Okay, when you want to talk about earning money without literally having to do anything, and in fact, it's a positive thing that happens to you and you earn the token anyways. It's been one of the best performing tokens, period. It's continued to go up in value. And so guys, download the app. It's literally free. It's free. Just check it out. Do it, man. You won't be disappointed. And again, you earn those damn tokens in the app. You can sell them, whatever you want to do, man. Just download the damn app. Links in the description of the video. With that being said, AAVE unveils Horizon, which is going to be merging RWA with DeFi. Very interesting here. AAVE Labs has, what did you say?
I didn't say anything.
Okay, I thought you did. That's okay. AAVE Labs has launched a new initiative called Horizon, which aims to enhance the integration of institutional real-world assets into DeFi. Titled Project Horizon is designed to align with institutional compliance requirements while preserving DeFi's efficiency and transparency. The initiative introduces a structured pathway for institutions and tokenized platforms to leverage decentralized financial security. One of its core features allows institutions, listen to this, it allows institutions to use tokenized money market funds as collateral when borrowing stable coins like their own Go or USDC. Future plans include expanding to other forms of RWA and further enhancing institutional access to DeFi liquidity. And according to data from RWA.xyz, it is indicating that the total value of on-chain RWAs has surged over 17.5% over the past month. This is a narrative that we have been pounding on this channel for the last month and a half. RWAs. And when I was actually looking at the top gainers of the day, I believe Stellar was a #1 gainer, and they're a leader in RWA, along with Ethereum, along with ZK Sync. You got Polygon in there, you got Avalanche in there, you got Ondo in there. So there's tons of opportunities, and it's just very intriguing to me what AAVE is looking to do. I just feel like AAVE is the one project that their timing and utility and new product launches is perfect. The timing of it is perfect. I think the timing of this is perfect. Meshing DeFi with RWA, I think, is a no-brainer. How much more bullish does this make you on AAVE, and what are your thoughts?
I feel like it's decentralized finance meets RWAs under the most secured platform or most trusted DeFi platform, period. It's not surprising. It caught me off guard reading these headlines and kind of thinking about it, but when you really think about it, kind of just makes sense, right? I mean, you want to participate in DeFi when it comes to swapping and borrowing and moving assets, right? You don't want a middleman in there taking a cut, but why not do this with, real world assets, right? And things that are tied into the real world. At the end of the day, you want less people profiting from your transactions. And if your transactions are, hey, I want to move a RWA or I want to borrow against it or whatever the case may be, doing it all in true decentralized fashion, I think is the future. And I think that's kind of what blockchain was built for. So pretty bullish for me. It might not be the headline that is going to spur a price rally, but I think it's something that builds on its structure, foundation, and what it really stands for. Remember, AAVE is not the sexiest play. If I'm over here talking about AAVE to somebody at the barber shop or at the grocery store, and somebody's like, "Oh, hey, crypto, blah blah blah," I probably won't be able to sell them on AAVE, right? It's just not that sexy. Hey, you know what? Decentralized finance, they're gonna do RWAs now. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Give me a meme coin.
But do you understand, Robin, being able to use tokenized money market funds?
Oh, it's huge.
$7 trillion. That's how much money market funds are worth right now. $7 trillion. I'm not saying all of it's going to be tokenized and on-chain, but it just provides another layer of liquidity. Using something that is not liquid, tokenizing it on the blockchain, and then using that to draw more liquidity from DeFi. I think it's great. So, man, that's super bullish on AAVE. We also have this as well, some XRP news. SEC, we shared this yesterday, but a little more insight here. SEC postpones decision to either approve or disapprove Grayscale's XRP ETF, and they pushed this to May. I scroll down here. What the hell is that? No idea. This is a quote from the SEC. The commission finds it appropriate to designate a longer period within which to take action on the proposed rule change as modified by Amendment Number 1, so that it has sufficient time to consider the proposed rule change and the issues raised therein. They continue on. Accordingly, the commission, pursuant to that section, designates May 21st, so that is the next date, to either approve, disapprove, or push this thing back one more time, as modified again by Amendment Number 1. You have that XRP news. You have also this XRP news. This is pretty big. XRP jumped 6% following Ripple's licensing approval in Dubai. Ripple has obtained a license to operate in the Dubai International Financial Center, the DIFC, making it the first blockchain-based payment company to receive authorization from the Dubai Financial Services Authority. The first blockchain-based payment company to receive authorization, that went to Ripple. The cross-border payments market in the UAE is estimated to exceed $40 billion, with growing demand for fast and efficient solutions driven by stable coins, RLUSD. That's pretty big news, man. We're talking about an area in the world that is developing, that is, some argue, the leader in blockchain and tech, at least adoption. And when you talk about payments, that is one thing we always talk about. This makes sense for blockchain payments. That is happening. Ripple is the first to get approval. What are your thoughts? And then if you want to share your thoughts on the May 21st approval deadline for the SEC for the XRP.
Just to go back to the XRP, yes, the delay I think is all off because there's still a pending lawsuit, right, or pending appeal.
But they delayed the other ones too.
Yeah, which even if there was no appeal, then at that point I would say I would still expect a delay just because they're delaying everything else. However, I think there was just no chance that if you look, they've already delayed a lot of other cryptos, and there's still a court case in appeals. It just wasn't going to happen. There's no way. So not surprised there. As far as Dubai, I mean, it's refreshing to see XRP being used internationally. I know most of the headlines I've seen with Ripple and XRP has come from the EU and the United States. And so glad to see XRP making headlines in Dubai. You know, what's next? You know, what's the next big country, right? I mean, Dubai's about as progressive, forward thinking when it comes to the future tech and also crypto as any of the other established nations. I think they're probably the front runner, right? I think they're more progressive than the US, more progressive than the EU. They might be behind maybe like Singapore or something of that nature, but I think they are leading the way when it comes to blockchain and government, and governments using blockchain. I think wouldn't be surprised to see a blockchain network really just be at the cornerstone of governments tracking and spending, something that we would like to see here in the U.S., but that's a long ways out.
So we'll take a look at an XRP chart. Still holding up very well for XRP. Let me throw this on. Let's find some high volume nodes for XRP. Let's go down to 1 hour. And XRP, I believe this was, so we had a bullish divergence on XRP. You see this inverse head and shoulders with large volume at the exact points of the head, the two shoulders, and of course the head. We did have a break above, and we're actually at a very key level for XRP here, and is showing strength at that $2.22 level. As you can see, coming out of this inverse head and shoulders pattern, we got a clean break above, fail, another break above, fail. So we had a few breaks above, fail. This is on the 1 hour. Then we saw some chop at this area. Essentially, the longer you spend above a key level, the more solid it becomes. And so it is to no surprise, to me at least, and when we got this nasty spill off from 232 down to 222, we're on pace to immediately take all of that back in one candle. And so $2.22, is that to you at XRP at $2.22? Is that one of your most undervalued altcoins in the market right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
At what place? 122?
$2.22.
Oh, you said $1.22.
No, $2.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not the most underpriced.
So what is more undervalued then? Let's go down. Let's go down.
Yeah, no, I think if you're looking to get an entry position on XRP, I think the $2.20. Sure, it's a good value. I think that at some point you're gonna find XRP at that $5 to $10, perhaps even $12 range. I think $12 might be outside of my bullish scenario, but I think somewhere between $5 and $10. So getting it in at $2, I think is pretty good. But I got a lot more upside for some other projects, and so if I were to go down the list, for value, I think going down, I think Solana's might be a better return. I think Solana's price has just really been suppressed, punched down into the ground at $122. I do think that. I think that realistically, a $1,200 Solana is more likely than a $22 XRP, right?
That's not a fair comparison. You're talking about a
Why?
10x. Oh yeah, they're both 10x's.
That's what I'm saying. And XRP and Solana were neck and neck on market cap at the beginning of this bull market cycle, and so XRP.
Well, there's been a pretty big divergence, right? So Solana is less than half of the market cap. So one can argue that, the law of diminishing returns as the asset grows larger in market cap value, one can argue that's not really a fair comparison, right?
No, I'm just saying, like, for me, the start of this bull market, XRP was behind Solana on market cap. It has ever since flipped and ran and surpassed Solana. But Solana's fall in market cap and dominance on this top 10 chart, I guess you could call it, has fallen because of people not using quite as much meme coins, or not being as heavily interested or buying meme coins. So transactions have fallen off. People are not buying as much Solana to facilitate transactions. People are not cashing out Solana, because they're cashing out meme coins that are on the Solana network. So we've seen Solana's price fall, but Solana still, I think, the top chain, and not even I think, Solana's still the number one layer one right now, the go-to chain if you want to facilitate a lot of transactions.
Failed transactions.
That doesn't matter. You can look at ETH. How many failed transactions does ETH have? So they right now they can handle it, right? And so right now, if you're going to have a new project, let's just say some kind of DeFi product pops up, it's the new craze, everybody wants it. Maybe maybe it's not meme coins, maybe it's some kind of new AI projects. Same thing we saw with AI agents, but let's just think of something else, right? Just brainstorm. Maybe it's something to do with gaming. Maybe it's NFTs moving around on gaming networks. I think that Solana just makes the most sense to process a giant batch of transactions. They do it right now. They're the go-to. They got the liquidity. It is what it is. And you can say that, like, hey, they might have failed transactions, but you know what? They got more transactions than other chains. So their amount of transactions is equivalent to how many users are on there, which dwarfs most other chains other than Ethereum. And so,
I mean, okay, so here's a comparison, right? So I posted this yesterday. I said, guess the layer one. So in red, you have failed transactions, and in blue, you have successful. Okay, this is Solana. And then this is ETH. Now, to be fair, ETH is at 1.1 million transactions, and Solana's hitting like 50, 67. And so, but the ratios are horrible. But I think once FireDancer gets here, I think that's going to alleviate a lot of it. And again, there's no, I just find it very hard to believe that any other chain would be able to handle the amount of transactions that Solana has been seeing on its network for quite a while.
And the thing is that there are other chains that can do it. But at this moment, it's theoretical. They don't have the liquidity. They don't have the stable coins. They don't have like.
Then you can't say they can't do it.
No, that's why I said theoretical. Like everything else is theoretical. And so it's cool. You can say, hey, I built the fastest car on the planet. Look at the horsepower, look at the engine, look at the liter, the torque, whatever. But if it's never been tested, you never put it on the track, how can you confidently say it's gonna get up there? How do you not know it's gonna crash? Like, maybe you don't even have tires for the damn thing. You know what I mean? Like, well, it's the fastest engine ever, and in a car, but like, you ain't got brakes or tires on the damn car. Like, what do you mean? It's the same thing. Like, you're over here talking about your layer one's the fastest, you don't even have smart contracts. Like, what do you mean?
But you see what happened was,
But the engine, it's a V12, and it's the biggest, strongest V12 in the world. I'd be like, but there's no driver, there's no chassis, there's no steering wheel. Like, you got the motor, cool.
You say
like,
Cassie?
awesome. Huh?
You say Cassie?
Chassis.
Oh, sorry about that.
And so, at the end of the day, it's like operational layer one. It's the fastest in the game right now. There's very little options out there that have the dApps liquidity stablecoin. I don't know how else to tell you. If you don't have the dApps, the liquidity, and the stablecoins, you're useless. It is what it is. It's like putting a freeway out in the middle of Montana in a cornfield and be like, this is the most beautiful freeway. But like, nobody can get on it.
Oh,
There's no on ramps. There's no off ramps. There's no traffic. There's like, who cares? It's a nice freeway. It's 8 lanes wide. Cool.
The best is,
but we can handle 15,000 trucks an hour. But who's driving on it? Nobody. It's not connected to anything. It's the same thing with a layer one, man. You guys keep getting these performance numbers and like blowing it out of proportion. Let me tell you a quick story. Sega Dreamcast.
Wait.
Sega Dreamcast. This thing. There it is.
Is that Ashley?
Yeah.
Sega Dreamcast, okay? Back in the day, there was before PlayStation, there was Sega Genesis, there was Super Nintendo, and then in comes the Sega Dreamcast, and there were some other products too, which even more proves my point here. That you had this technology that came out, and it was way faster. The Sega Dreamcast was faster than the predecessor. It was faster than the Super Nintendo. Had better graphics. Had it was top of the line. And in turn, the price was a little high. But the thing was nobody was building on it. Nobody was creating games on this Sega Dreamcast. The game lineup was like 20 games. They had the Virtual Fighter, which was cool, but no, there was no games. Nobody was building on it.
Stop picking on Sega.
And so they literally went out of business. They stopped even making systems. The Sega Dreamcast was the last system. They gave up. They were like, you know what? Nobody wants to build on here. You can have the best tech ever. You're going to have the 64, 128, or 256 bytes or whatever they were at that time. It was like a megabits. It was like 16-bit Super Nintendo, whatever it was. But you know what? They had the hardware, but nobody built on it. And they failed. And so it doesn't matter how good your hardware is. You need the people to build on it.
You seem like a scorned man. Do you have a Sega Dreamcast?
I did have a Sega Dreamcast. And then the thing was, I paid $500 for it. And then there was no games out for it. And then I was sitting there and I was trying to hype it up. I'm like, guys, this is the best system out there. But they never made any games. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what? Stan and Dark Energy said Neo Geo. Exactly. That's another one. That was an amazing game system. And Neo Geo was top of the line, way more advanced than Sega and...
was that in the 60s?
No, that was 1995. So the Neo Geo was leaps and bounds ahead of Super Nintendo and of Sega. And at the time, people just didn't buy it, because they didn't have the games.
When my dad first brought us out to the States, my first ever game console was a Sega Genesis. First game was Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, I want to give a shout out to Patreon. We did get a new Patreon member yesterday. Shout out to Max the Bear. And speaking of Patreon, we did post this yesterday, 15 hours ago. Bitcoin on the daily is at the top end of a bear flag with major resistance sitting at 84.1. Limit order at 83.995, which got filled. We had our stop loss and our take profit at 78.307. Now, I did alert the people that, hey, I would take maybe 50% off the table at around 81.3. Which I did, and I don't know if you did, but to those of you that were that are part of our Patreon, hopefully you guys made some money. And if you're not part of our Patreon, the link is in the description of this video. With that being said, Rocco, thank you all so much for tuning in. Come back on the PM stream. We're going to be breaking down the charts fundamentals. It's going to be a great one. Might be doing more giveaways there, so come join us. 4:45 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you then. Peace.
Sin City, crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Named according to your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win.